What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and apparently we're getting a new Resident Evil movie. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, all the Resident Evil movies are bad to some varying degree. And all of them, to some varying degree, seem to not want to do the stories of Resident Evil. They want to do their own thing. But this time, maybe, just maybe, they might get it right.
He's got high hopes.
Why? Well, this comes to us from PC Gamer, and it's entitled, "The next Resident Evil movie is being directed by Zach Cregger of Weapons fame, who played, quote, thousands and thousands of hours of Resident Evil, but hasn't seen any of the movies."
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Which, if you didn't know, yes, Zach Cregger was the director, the brain behind the movie Weapons, which, by the way, is doing killer at the box office.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
One of the most profitable movies of the year, and I do mean profitable, as in the budget, the amount of money they put into the movie, is significantly less than the money that they're actually making on the movie. Therefore, they have high profits. It's not something like Superman or Fantastic Four or even F1, which is a movie I really liked and I encourage people to actually go out there and see, where all those movies actually made a bunch of money at the box office and maybe broke even, maybe?
I am never going to financially recover from this.
No matter how much the shill media wants to put out articles saying, oh, they've made so many millions of dollars in profits already this year. You're not going off the correct numbers. And you're not guessing that they are in some way lying about their budget, because all these production companies, they lie about their budgets. They're always more than what you think they are, especially Warner Brothers, Disney, and streamers. And guess what? All three movies come from those three places. But this movie was actually made for, in the budget of tens of millions of dollars, not hundreds of millions of dollars. So the fact that it's doing a worldwide of $251 million to date is pretty good. But the article states here, the sketch comedian to horror movie director pipeline is real. Jordan Peele went from Mad TV and Key and Peele to Get Out, Nope, and Us. Joss Rubin went from College Humor to Werewolves Within, Hard Eyes, and Scare Me. And now Zach Cregger of The Whitest Kids You Know has become a horror movie name to watch with Barbarian, Weapons, and an upcoming Resident Evil movie. Couple things there. Yeah, I guess I didn't know how many horror movie writers were actually sketch comedians before this. Also, this kind of explains some of the weird humor that was also in the movie Weapons. A lot of people reported that there was audible laughter in their theaters at certain parts of the movie because it sort of became a dark comedy, which seemed a little weird to hear about, but I guess that makes sense now. But the article continues, Weapons was great, a twisty Stephen King adjacent story of missing kids in the suburbs, but a zombie action horror movie will be a whole different kettle of fish. And if you think that Resident Evil is just about zombie action, you clearly, article writer, are not somebody who has played Resident Evil games or even seen Resident Evil games played.
You are made of stupid.
They continue, I hope Cregger doesn't leave his sense of humor behind, because the worst thing you could do with the camp tone of Resi, I hate that phrase, is try to pretend it's serious business. Is Resident Evil campy? I don't think Resident Evil is really that campy.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I think it has some humor in it and some over-the-topness with the style, mostly because it's done in a more Japanese style. So here's the thing. I think journos and just people in Hollywood, they like to use this word camp and campy when they mean just slightly humorous or over the top, and they don't actually know what they're saying. But the article continues, speaking to Double Toasted, Cregger said he's, quote, played, I don't know, how many thousands and thousands of hours of Resident Evil and is planning to make a movie that probably lives more in the world of 2 and 3, but I'd say adheres more to the tone of 4. No matter what your experience with Resident Evil is, you know, just by saying that, this guy probably knows his stuff when it comes to Resident Evil way better than anybody who's made a Resident Evil movie before him.
So somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one.
The article also states he couldn't say which of the existing movies it will resemble, however, because he hasn't watched them. Quote, I've never seen a Resident Evil movie. And so, you know, I imagine that if there are people out there that are just rabid fans of the movie franchise, they're probably not really prepared for what I'm going to be doing. But I think the people that are fans of the games are probably going to be stoked.
Oh my God! Wow!
And that right there is absolutely great to hear. Because it means that this guy cares about the video games, cares about the source material, and actually wants to present a movie that probably reflects the source material. You know, the thing that was popular in the first place, which means that people that like the source material are probably more inclined to go see the movie because they know somebody is going to try to do it right. What a wild concept, again, appealing to the people that made said IP popular in the first place and putting it in a new media that you hope draws new people into the IP just because it's presented in a different way, i.e., not a video game, but a movie. The way video game adaptations into a movie should be done, I think. Because I don't understand what's so hard about this. Just take the video game stories, take the actual video game, put it into a movie. And I know people will be out there saying, oh, well, you got to make it different at least in some way or you're just getting the same experience. Well, yeah, exactly. There are plenty among the fan base that just want to see the video game turn into a movie. Hell, if you're a fan of Sony PlayStation games that are first party, you're pretty much just getting a movie already. So I get the gripe there. But for everything else,
boom, roasted.
Yeah, I mean, seeing it actually live on the silver screen will actually be meaningful, even if it's just the same story again. And guess what? There are a lot of people who aren't into video games that could be intrigued by the story. My wife is not a rabid gamer. She would not play Expedition 33. I guarantee it to you. But Expedition 33's story is amazing. And I would see a movie version of it straight from game to screen. And when I told the story of what Expedition 33 was to my wife, she was actually like, wow, that sounds really cool. I would go see a movie of that or I'd read the book. So sometimes that's all you need. Put what's popular into a different media. You don't have to put any other bells and whistles on it or get creative. Just adapt it. I spoke at length how this is a problem with the Lara Croft series. How they are not going to adapt the character and adapt the franchise right. Because they're doing things that are not going to appeal to the original fan base. Gooner dude gamers. Even the Mario movie, which was a massive success, was a success because it stayed true to the basic premise of Mario. Yes, they expounded maybe a little bit on the actual backstories and what they look like of Mario and his brother and where they come from and all that. But the actual true story of Mario is the basic idea that Mario jumps on platforms and he saves Princess Peach from Bowser. That's it. Throw in a few cameos, a few Easter eggs for the fans, and you got a winner. So if you do this with somebody who actually knows the games for Resident Evil, and they'd actually have a movie, actually have a Resident Evil movie that fans of the games love, fans of the movies might actually like, and new people that have never seen a Resident Evil movie or played a game before will come out and enjoy. Maybe. Just maybe. But hey, those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.